Thank you. It's so exciting to be here. You know, I don't really rehearse what I'm going to say to you, but I do picture it in my head ahead of time. You know, like I picture coming out and feeling kind of cool, being introduced, and, you know, telling you my little jokes and saying hey to Dave and talking about my projects, my new projects. I picture Paul Schaefer going, yeah, when I have like a really good set. I picture that. I don't really have any new projects, to be totally honest with you. I did nominate myself for that CNN hero thing. I don't know if that's really considered a project, but I did a really heroic thing, which is Nancy Grace was on television at the gate at the airport the other day, and I selflessly swung my carry-on bag up and turned it off. And, yeah. People wept with gratitude and relief. And I don't know if this really counts as a project, but I am self-employed, and I'm thinking I'm gonna snag Employee of the Month in November. I don't know if that's really a project, but I'm excited about it. I have 3 kids. Believe me, that is a project. My oldest daughter, I realized the other day, I could actually kill her just by telling her that it's important to me that she breathe. Sorry, I'm not sick. I have allergies, really bad allergies, but I do try to remember to cough there, instead of there. Although now they don't want you to do that because of group photos. Now the CDC is now asking that we cough behind your knee. This is really hard to do. Well, it's so exciting to be in New York. I don't live here. I live in California, but I always feel good in New York. I feel safe flying into New York because you got the Hudson. And, you go down in the Hudson and a tour boat picks you up in just a minute. But, normally you have to fly back and forth across the country. You go over the Mississippi. What is that, You go down in the Mississippi, and unless it's Huck Finn Day and somebody happens to be rafting by, you're going under. I live in California, and it's now news. Everybody knows now about California that it is a hellhole of a state. It is the devil's elbow. That's what California is. It's awful. My kids 2 of my daughters go to high school in Southern California, at public school, and it's terrible. I can't tell you how bad it is. They do this thing. I don't know if they do it here. I don't even know if you're from here. I didn't picture that when I was thinking about this. Are you from here? I had never pictured the Canadians, and now I'm embarrassed to kind of air California's dirty laundry in front of them. But in our high school, you have the kids have to in order to graduate, they have to pass an exit exam, and it's not hard, but they don't. 1/5 of it is writing, and they don't teach writing in our schools anymore. I don't know why, but so what they do is they start giving the test to them when they're sophomores, so that they have time to flunk it and retake it, and they allow them to stay beyond their senior year until they are 22 years old, and they call them super seniors. Many of them wear capes. It is awful. I tried to talk to one of the principals at our school about it. I said, my daughter's flunked the test 3 times, and this is what he said. I swear to you, I'm not making it up. He said, a lot of our kids can't pass that test. That's what he said. That's how he said it. No, and here's what we're going to do about it. No, we won't stand for that. No, that's an outrage. Just a lot of our kids can't pass that test. If you were allowed to smoke and drink in our school, he would have said it like this. A lot of our kids can't pass that test. What's that?
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here. Nice to be back in New York. It's a fun place to be. It's sweaty hot, which I'm from Massachusetts, so, I remember growing up there. I used to work in the summers at a miniature golf course as a caddy. And actually got fired for recommending the wrong club to some guy one time. He said I would drive the Swiss cheese if I were you. Actually, I hate golf. I think it's a stupid game. I'm very happy for Tiger Woods breaking the color lines, but at the same time, very sorry to see yet another race sucked into such a stupid-ass game. Well, I'm trying to make the most of my trip. I ate at one of the fancy New York restaurants tonight. The ones where they tell you more about the food than you actually need to know. You know, I'll be your waiter, John. Okay. The chef has some specials he's prepared for you this evening. Are you ready to hear them? I think so. Children, come closer. This evening, the chef is offering a Chilean sea bass. It was caught in 52-degree waters. It was not hook caught. It was lured into the boat. It was rubbed with a butter tarragon sauce while it was still alive and could appreciate it. It was pan-seared just after the chef read to it from the Canterbury Tales. Now, is there nobody walking down the street in New York, by the way, not talking into a cell phone? I'm a cell phone user, but I like the actual phone. I don't like that wire thing. You know, I think that makes it very hard to separate the highly successful CEOs from the schizophrenic street people. And frankly, at this point, my public reputation is such that I really require the actual phone. If I'm walking down the street going like, blah, 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 people are going to be, she's at it again. I had a little drinking problem. I don't know if you heard. It was kept kind of hush-hush. Out of deference to me and my family. I was actually court-ordered to Alcoholics Anonymous on television. Pretty much blows the hell out of the second A, wouldn't you say? Well, I did have a drinking problem. And in the first place, I deeply regret the mistakes that I made. In the second place, I just feel kind of stupid because looking back, there were red flags. And I can see that now. I did not see it at the time. In my defense, I'll say I was drunk. It's kind of the good news and the bad news about drinking. There are red flags, but they're kind of blurry and they zip on by. I mean, looking back, the things were pretty glaring. I remember about 3 weeks before I went into rehab, and I was in a 30-day program for 180 days. About 3 weeks before I went in, I got really drunk one day and went into a pet store and bought a dog, which would not be that big a deal, except for we had 9 cats at the time. Believe me, the cats were hiding the alcohol after that. We now have 10 cats, a big stupid dog, a bearded dragon lizard, a bunny, and an ant farm. I'm going to be honest with you people. I've been drunk in that pet store before. I don't want to play the victim here, but I believe they knew, and I believe they took advantage. Does anybody else's pet store have a wine section? I think that's a little odd. Thank you very much.
Dear Mr. President, I want you to know that I am still with you on this healthcare thing. Some of us agreed that we loved the idea of people with pre-existing health problems being able to receive. Anybody who's ever used a computer knows that privilege goes hand in hand with frustration. Why would we give up on the Affordable Health Care Law because of that? Cable installed, we'd take the day off work to wait for the cable man. We are no strangers to struggling with websites. Why would that make us give up on a law that makes some insurance policies provide preventative medicine with no co-payments? It's timer, but I still make toast. I triumphed. Heck, when I first hooked up my computer, I spent hours on the phone with a guy at Verizon who said his name was David, but I don't think his name was David, and it was unbelievably frustrating. I cried. I'm telling you, I actually cried. I reached the depths of despair, but I never gave up. If David couldn't break me, how could it be that I'd already thrown the towel on a law that makes it possible for my kids to remain on my family policy until they're 26? Maybe it'll work, and maybe it won't, Mr. President, but I sure want it to. And if I want it to anywhere nearly as bad as I wanted my DVD player to work with the same remote as my big screen TV, I don't want to, but I can suffer through a few more glitches in the healthcare site.
How are ya? Thanks so much. It's nice to be here. Thank you. It's a lovely tribute.
Hartley tribute.
I thought it was good. I thought it made sense.
That was
it was nice.
That was nice. Hey, I have a trigger finger. Have you heard? It goes down, but it won't get up again. And so I wear the. Originally, I was told to do buddy taping, which is where you tape the finger to another finger, and it's best to use the one beside it. But what happened with that was very much like any other intervention in my family, which is that the bad finger was influencing the good finger. I have a 16-year-old son at home, which is, it turns out, is one of the worst things that can happen to a person. Oh, my heavens. Sometimes at night after I get him in bed, I go into my room and complete my sentences. It's horrible. It's awful. And you know, I feel stupid saying this, but it's true. I did a little research because it dawned on me one day that maybe girls were different than boys, and I have 2 older daughters. And I looked up, as it turns out, for boys, their frontal lobe doesn't come in until between 25 and 30. And that's the reasoning and organizing part. And sometimes I check on them at night, and nothing. There's a divot there. It's horrible. I just went to a memorial for a friend of mine, and they had beautiful pictures of the guy up, and then films of him playing with his kids by the pool, and I thought, you know, I gotta get better pictures. And maybe hire somebody to play my kids. Am I the only one? Is it just, are we the only ones who struggle? That's what I wonder. I was listening on the radio the other day. There was an ad. There's these 2 therapists, a husband and a wife. Have you heard this? And they've come up with an audio tape series on coping with your teenager. And the woman does the ad. Do you know what I'm talking about? She says, the woman does the ad, and she goes, "I will never forget the day that my son Jeremy slammed the door and said, 'I hate you.'" And I thought, really? That sticks out in your mind? That's good morning in our house. You have 2 boys, right? You have 2 boys.
Oh,
yeah. Is there anything you can do about that?
No, nothing at all.
Oh, my God. My son over the summer was supposedly going to get a job, and so he was filling out applications. He's 16, and in fairness to him, he'd not been through the process before, but apparently when he went to fill out the applications, he knew nothing about himself. He says to me, he was filling out an application for a place called Paquito Mas, which is a chain Mexican place, and he goes, "Have I ever worked before?" I said, "Not a bit, honey." And he goes, do I have any degrees? I go, "Sweetie, I think not knowing if you have a degree is the same as not having it, really." Then he was filling out one for Bed Bath & Beyond, which is just cruel. It's not just the regular kind they tear off the pad. It's their own. It folds out. There's essay questions. One of the questions was, why do you want to work at the Bed Bath & Beyond? Which is, and then you have to sign a thing to say you're honest. If you know the honest answer, you wouldn't get a job. The honest answer is because I don't have enough degrees to sling beans over at the Paquito Mas. That's the honest answer. So, I said, no, I've always been interested in the beyond. Thank you very much.
No, I don't know what you would call this guy, but it was like a belt, and it went around their body, and
Harness.
you know, it was a harness, yeah. Clearly they had jumped, and I heard a loud crash when I looked at it. It kind of came up around this way, and then this way, and you know, whatever, and then it went around their back. But it took me a little while, and then there was one that went down this way, and there was another one that came up this way. And at first I just thought they just went down, and then all of a sudden it dawned on me, it's a one piece. Ouch! That just doesn't seem that comfortable at all to me. More and more, I used to feel that there was this sort of one world feeling about the place, but no, now I realize it's not that. It's that there's more than one group of people, so to speak, but they don't seem to notice each other. You know, like the families with the strollers. You know, they're going past, you know, the women with penises and big wigs and... They don't go They don't even see that woman. My oldest daughter feels the same way about high school. She said, Mom, the best way for me to really graduate be to quit right now. I think I can make further headway outside. She said to me, she said, you know, Mom, only dead fish go with the flow. Did that fuck anybody else up for a day or two? Just...
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's odd, but true somehow, isn't it? I keep trying to find some area where I could apply it, and there's none. I don't think that she's a weird fisherman. You know, and her husband tried to step slightly out of frame when she said it, but she said, and you know, by the way, you called it a press conference. I don't think it was really. There's only one camera guy there. There was no bank of microphones. There was only one camera guy. And when he panned around, there's like 3 little blonde kids. I think that it was just a family outing, and she started making a speech. There's one elderly woman whose recliner wasn't even facing her. So I think the best way to listen to you is to ignore you. I knew a situation that was difficult at best. You know, I mean, the media is cruel. We're all mean, and she, I don't think she was prepared for it. And you know what? If McCain were to have come to me and said, "Would you like to be my running mate for vice president?" I mean, I think my first thought would be, I don't know. My first thought would be, I don't know, shit, I couldn't possibly. But my second thought, which would come very quickly and kind of kick my first thought out of the way. My second thought would be, well, he must know what he's doing. I think I would do it. And frankly, it wouldn't occur to me to take a look at the globe ahead of time either. She was busy bartering at the secondhand clothing store. She probably thought to herself, I'm sure she knew that she wasn't really familiar with world affairs or the locations of the countries or whether the countries were continents. I'm sure she knew that deep down inside about herself.